Okay, so as far back as I can remember, my family has been telling me that I am Scotch Irish, English, Dutch. And then towards the end of her life, my grandmother apparently found some French Huguenot distant relation. And so my peeps, where I'm from, was Scotch Irish, English, Dutch, and French. Um, but actually, what it turns out is that all of that is so far back that I'm more or less just kind of all American. Um, so let's go to the family tree. We start with me, Perry Stevenson Westbrook. I am the first person in my family tree to be born in Georgia, born Decatur, Georgia in 1981. My mom's family comes from upstate New York, specifically Canastota, a small town about 45 minutes out of Syracuse. And my dad's family, oh, Clarence Perry Westbrook, comes from Jasper, Alabama. He was born in Tuscaloosa, but his family is from Jasper. The Westbrooks have been in Alabama since longer than anyone can remember, and the News have been in upstate New York, again, longer than anyone can remember. My mom grew up on a farm, and that farm goes back to the Revolutionary War. My grandfather, my mom's mom, my mom's dad, Wesley Herman New, was born in that farmhouse and died in that farmhouse. Not in the hospital, in the farmhouse. His father, Herman Van Brocklin New, born in that farmhouse, died in that farmhouse. Uh, my mom told me that that was on a Wednesday afternoon, and she remembers because she had just gotten home from band practice. Uh, Jefferson New, his father, born in that farmhouse, died in that farmhouse. That farm was payment to Simon New for having fought in the American Revolution. Uh, the My grandmother, the Washbins, also from upstate New York, Allegheny County or Little Valley, going back to like the Laffertys, who were Irish and probably came over during the potato famine. They would have been probably my most recent ancestors to immigrate. Um, my mom said that the Washbins described themselves, quote, as all American and refused to look into where their ancestors had come from. Um, Before Simon New got the farm by fighting in the Revolution, his great great grandparents, I think, uh, were in Bristol, England, moved from Bristol to Holland, and married a Dutch wife. He and his brother, I think, married Dutch wives, and then moved to the United States, or what were then the colonies, from Holland. So Dutch and English on that side. Um, the Westbrook side was harder for me to track down. I don't have any living grandparents, and my father passed away back in 1999. So there were fewer people to ask on that side. Um, I do remember both of my grandparents, so I was able to um, come back with most of their information pretty easily. My grandmother was a conservatory trained pianist, and she played the piano and gave piano lessons throughout her life. My grandfather was a businessman in real estate and all other manners of business. Um, and the Stevensons and the Westbrooks were all from Walker County, Alabama. Uh, my grandmother and grandfather were always very proud of having been from Walker County because in the Civil War, Walker County seceded from Alabama when Alabama seceded from the Union. Um, so, uh, although my mother's parents fought in the Civil War, or my mother's grandparents or great grandparents or great great great, my mother's family fought in the Civil War on the Union side. My father's family did not fight in the Civil War on the Confederate side because they seceded from the Confederacy. Um, I wasn't able to fill out the entire family tree just based on what my mother was able to tell me, so I had to also use this website, familysearch.org, which was able to show me everything here. There's me in the middle. and my mother's family here in red and yellow, and my father's family here in blue and green. Um, Using this, I was able to go even further back than I thought, especially on my father's family. My great grandfather was Albert Clifton, and we can see him here. The website was able to find him just by plugging in his name and approximate birth dates. Here's my grandfather, Clarence Albert, and his brothers, of whom I only met Clyde and maybe Clifton in my whole life. But if we were to go back even farther here to my great grandfather's great great grandfather, and look at his family tree, we can see that his family came over to what would again then be the colonies. They immigrated to North Carolina from Germany. So I was able to add German to the list of my peeps. I am Scotch Irish, English, Dutch. I haven't been able to confirm the French, but my grandmother said it, so we'll believe her. And apparently German. And those, I think, are my peeps.